All right. Hey, what's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here, jumping in on this Thursday evening, the 1st of July, 2021, 9:30 p.m. West Coast time here in California. The latest quake, a 3.3, ringing the earthquake 3D bell over here around Puerto Rico, where we're seeing another uptick in earthquake activity. Go ahead and check out the latest information here on the USGS map. Kind of had a pretty busy day today with my nephew. Went up to Mount Lassen volcano, which of course is an active volcano here in Northern California. Beautiful, but also deadly at the same time, But it is a major tourist attraction, and my nephew had an absolutely incredible time up there checking it out. So, what do we got going on here? Let's go ahead and check out the all magnitudes. Look at the Puerto Rico area. Increasing seismic activity there around the Puerto Rico Trench. A couple earthquakes towards the Puerto Rico Trench area with that 3.7, pretty deep. 70 kilometers below the surface. Also a pretty good cluster on the southwest side of the Puerto Rico area. Movement along the west coast kind of dying down a little bit, but not completely. The latest quake here along the west coast going to be this little earthquake in the Los Angeles jungle area, a 2.1. For some reason, I always call it the concrete jungle. It just because it is. If you look at satellite views of that area, it looks like a giant concrete jungle. Nothing major going on in Southern California at the moment. No southern or no swarms around the Salton Sea. Good Lord, that place, man. That's all I'm going to say. I'm recovering, actually. I'm recovering from probably some inhalation of some toxic chemicals, gases there coming off the Salton Sea. Yesterday when I was driving home, my 9-hour drive from there, I had a headache, massive headache, and the night before as well, after visiting that area. But yes, that was my fault. Definitely know better next time. Some movement along the creeping section of the San Andreas Fault, but overall, folks, looking pretty relatively quiet out there. A small lower earthquake north of Mount Shasta. That's all we need is for that thing to start acting up. 6.1 kilometers below the surface for the 1.8. Mount Lassen, pretty quiet in the Northern California as far as the Cascades go. Pretty quiet as well. Yellowstone, not so much. Quite a bit of movement there in Yellowstone National Park. And this is only over the last 24 hours. If we check out the all magnitudes, you can see roughly about 285 earthquakes or so kicking up there in the Yellowstone National Park area. Let's go ahead and check out the overview of Yellowstone. And you can see significant swarming still continuing. Now, this is not volcanic in nature, I don't believe, folks. But it is earthquake activity, and it's kind of ramping up. This here is what I'm kind of watching. This intense. This is some very intense earthquake activity all at once. Now, this has me a little surprised here, because this is definitely showing up on other stations around the vicinity. You can see there at Hebgen Lake, Maple Creek, showing up on Norris Junction as well. Also, if you look at these other stations, picking it up down there around the Pitchstone Plateau, which is south of the activity, as far as the earthquake swarming goes. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but it is something to take note of. I do have my nephew here, so I'm not for sure how long he's going to let me do this update. He's hungry. He's been eating all day and all night, but it's okay. I got more food for him. I don't believe this is a wind or weather event. I believe this is a major increase in swarming all at once, and some significant earthquake activity at that. Nothing of major magnitude, just the multitudes of it is kind of interesting. I don't believe it's volcanic, but I'm looking at this pretty closely. It's just I'm guessing there's over 100 earthquakes within these couple hours here of activity, and that was earlier today. Since then, it has calmed down a little bit, but it has not completely stopped. But this right here, I got to study this a little bit more and see exactly what's going on there, considering it did show up on other seismograph stations. When that happens, that's kind of a big deal. If it was only on one station, I would kind of write it off as some type of interference or wind event. But this is earthquake activity, and it's at a major volcano, super volcano. That type of activity doesn't show up too often. That intense, that rapidly, in a short amount of a couple hours there, a couple span of hours. So kind of keeping an eye on that. And far as the USGS reporting anything, let's go back over here to that map and go to the all magnitudes. one day. They do have some earthquakes updated there. About 40 earthquakes in the Yellowstone National Park area around the northwest corner of the park, and also there around Lake Yellowstone. But we're looking at 2 different swarmings going on there, 3 different possible swarming locations throughout Yellowstone. So it's definitely ramping up. The activity that is not major magnitudes. There's lots of microquakes there, but it's a major uptick in activity compared to what we've seen over the past few months to a year of seismic activity at Yellowstone National Park. So keeping an eye on it. We can't write this off as just nothing yet. It's really interesting to see this type of activity there at Hebgen Lake area showing up on quite a few other stations. I mean, it's rapid succession of earthquakes. Just bam, 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 bam. A lot of earthquakes. And if I wasn't thinking any better, I think this is maybe volcanic harmonic tremor would be a little bit different. I believe it would look something like this, but on a larger scale and a more lengthy signature showing up on all the seismographs. These are very sharp, distinct earthquakes, but happening very rapidly, one right after another. So I don't believe, I don't believe it's harmonic tremor or volcanic tremor at the moment, but we're still watching that pretty closely. What else we got going around the world here? Pretty quiet. A little bit of movement off the coast of Japan into the Pacific Plate area. A couple 4-pointers up there once again. And some movement out here in the, what do we got out there? Well, just a couple earthquakes, 4.7 and 4.3 in China. Other than that, world earthquakes looking pretty quiet, folks. Alaska's seen a pretty good increase in microquakes around the region, but of course this is pretty typical for that area of Alaska. Kind of similar to California, how we see all this microquake activity taking place along the plate boundary there. So, all right, folks, stay tuned. Just have a great night out there. I got to get going. Got my nephew here. It's kind of late. It's past my bedtime. I'm hoping he'll be able to go to sleep pretty early, considering that I had him out there hiking and running around in the sun and exploring, an active volcano here in Northern California. He wasn't really impressed with all the boiling mud and the boiling water coming up out of the ground, but I don't know. The significance of it is pretty impressive, though, if you really think about what's creating that heat and that bubbling water. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on below the surface. All right, folks, have a good night. Stay safe out there. We'll keep you guys updated, and see you tomorrow sometime. Peace out.